It is the Ace Michaels Show. Ace Michaels in the house. I'm in the house, y'all, and I'm happy to be in the house. And you know, when you got Ace in the house is full. And that's what I'm saying. Hey, man, today we're going to talk about animals. You know what I'm saying? And I don't mean human animals that you meet at the club. I'm talking about animals that are our fur buddies, our little furry cat animals and furry dog animals, and even more. Birds, not really. Those shouldn't be pets. But anyway, that's my opinion. Hey, if you ever want to be on the show, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. That way you can get the unedited, uncensored versions of our shows, and you can see what's really going on, even some behind the scenes footage. Yeah, we go behind the scenes sometimes, and you can do that. Anyway, that's how you do that. Today on the show is JESS RO, who is having a charity for animals. Very
so it's a fundraiser pretty much, and it's kind of just a gathering of people who really care about one sanctuary, and the sanctuary is called Animal Tracks Inc. They're a 501c3 located in Agua Dulce, and Agua Dulce isn't very popular in California, but it's near Santa Clarita. That's a little bit more of a popular area. So yeah, it's just in that zone, and they are in dire need after everything that's happened with COVID and a couple of changes with their property. So we're just going to try to help them out. Yeah.
So, Matt, do I call you Jess or JESS RO, or how do you like to be addressed?
Call me Jess.
Okay, so yes, one of the things that happens with these types of programs, the first thing people start worrying about is they go, you know, things like, okay, yes, Black Lives Matter, but green money matters too. So where's the money going? You know what I'm saying?
Yes, so it is going straight to the animals. And in this case, they actually need to get a new home because they've pretty much outgrown where they are. And not only that, but they haven't been able to conduct any business in the last few months because of COVID-19. So the way they conducted business is through education. They use the animals that they have, not to force them to do anything they don't want to do, but they basically just allow for people to come in and visit the sanctuary. All these animals are just rescues, you know, they've been born into some kind of unfortunate situation, or they're injured and they can't be released back into the wild. So we provide a permanent and beautiful, loving home for them. But yeah, so the way they used to make their money was just to allow people to come into the grounds and meet them and actually experience being in the presence of the animal. And they had to put that at a halt with COVID-19.
Sure.
And of course, as soon as COVID-19's, 3-month peak period is over, all of a sudden they have to move. So we have a GoFundMe. And in order to motivate people to go and give money to the GoFundMe, we're going to have a raffle. So for those of you metalheads or rock, people who are into rock, if you're familiar with Slipknot, the singer Corey Taylor has actually been gracious enough to donate 2 guitars. And they're acoustic guitars. They're beautiful. Yeah, I believe it's a Dean guitar and a Hummingbird. I can send the picture if you want after, but he signed them. And so we'll basically just have a raffle, and the money for a raffle ticket will go straight to the GoFundMe. And then eventually we'll draw a raffle and someone will win. We haven't even put the word out there yet because we're about to start promoting it next week. So you're touching me right at the end of the planning.
This is the great part when you get in on the ground floor, so to speak. Now, curious, I thought that we were talking about domestic animals, like your domestic cats and dogs that are being rescued. But are we talking about wildlife animals? We're talking about tigers and bears and whatnot. Oh my.
Yeah, so they don't have any large wildlife. I think the largest wildlife that they have is 2 kangaroos. I think they're the largest animals that they have. But yeah, they are wildlife. They're all exotic animals. They're primates. So it's illegal, for example, to own primates in California. And some people somehow, think
somehow they got a monkey. Yeah, they just come up with a monkey somehow. Yeah, I know how it goes. I've seen them out there. Yeah. So yes, now people are going to be interested. about you and how you got involved in this and what makes you qualified to talk to us about our monkeys. You know what I mean?
Sure. So basically, I've been involved with volunteering and with caring for primates for a really, really long time. I would say over 10 years. So my main job is completely unrelated. I actually work in astronomy education, and I'm all into the sciences. But my second love ever since I was a kid was to be a primatologist. So that's why I kind of made it my passion hobby on the side.
Nice.
And I never ever contributed any time to breeders or people who, you know, make them work in a circus or anything like that. I'm solely for the rescues and the sanctuaries, you know, that have them because they've been put in unfortunate situations.
Now you said astronomy education, not astrology education,
No, not
but
astrology.
astronomy education.
Horoscopes.
So people, what do they need to be educated? Like they come and ask you, like, hey, what time does the bus leave from Saturn? Because I'm waiting on that one. That's the next one. I mean, what kind of education they need about astronomy?
Exactly. So they pretty much do ask me, hey, at what time am I going to be able to see Venus in the sky in December? And so I have to ask them their
Wow.
location, and then I have to kind of look it up because I don't know based on every single location in the globe where it's going to be in their sky. So yeah, astronomy education, by that I mean there's a whole STEM program that revolves behind it from an observatory that I work at in Pasadena. It's called Mount Wilson Observatory. And I actually coordinate the entire program along with some astrophysicists that teach the lessons from Carnegie observatories.
And this is a true job? Like this is, you get a check, they give you a check every 2 weeks to do this?
This is how I make my money.
Man, you better give me some, this is God bless America right here. Astronomy education. And you get different people, not the same people coming through all the time. Like there's always a flood of people who want to know stuff about astronomy.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah.
they need a professional to tell them. They can't just look up at the sky and go, okay, I see it.
Well, you know,
It's complicated, right?
So that, yeah, it's kind of complicated because there's observational astronomy where you basically observe the skies and you learn on your own, and that's something any of us can do. Especially with apps now, you can download apps that'll just tell you what star is where and where's the other planet and all that jazz. But there's some people who, especially students, you know, who want to go into learning about like the chemical composition of a star, and so that's the STEM program that we provide at Mount Wilson.
So let me ask you this, okay? You don't have to tell like everybody because I know, you know, this is going to go public, but like,
that's all right. Yeah.
Is there really asteroid coming to destroy the Earth? You know what I'm saying? Because I just want to know, damn it. You know what I'm saying? I ain't trying to get effed up in here.
I know, right?
You know what I'm saying? Like for real, for real.
But there's this really interesting video. I'll have to find it.
Don't deflect me to a video. Do you know? You know. Come on.
No, there's nothing coming that I know of. If nothing coming.
If you knew, would you tell us? If we paid you, would you tell us? You would tell us.
I would not be on this podcast. I would be like.
Right, but where could you go? You can't go nowhere. You'd be on the podcast. You would be on the podcast for sure. Okay, so, y'all. So there's no comet, asteroid. I guess we don't have to worry about comets, right? Astronomy professional.
I don't.
Comets won't hurt us.
One that's going to impact the Earth.
No. But asteroids, meteorites, meteors we got to worry about, and asteroids, correct?
Meteorites, yeah. So with meteors, they're kind of always coming in.
Right. And so since you're always looking at the heavens, okay, I'm not going to ask you the obvious question like if you've seen God or anything like that, but I do want to know if Superman is real. Like for real. Is there a Krypton?
Superman.
Right, okay. That's another show. I got you. Yeah, we'll have to talk about that. That's a whole can of worms. That's a whole can of worms.
Yeah.
Okay, so these animals we're going to rescue, some of them, I want to know, for example, I don't know how to phrase this question, so I'm just going to put it this way. I know that when I go to like a pet rescue or a pet auction adoption situation, The young, cute ones go fast because they're furry, they're cute, people love those. But the older animals, they get kind of looked over. Now, is this a similar type of thing? Like if you have a older kangaroo, it seems like it's gonna be harder to get, you know what I'm saying?
So we take care of them until their last days, you know. Yeah, there's no discrimination like that of any sort. And we're not trying to adopt them out. We're just trying to make sure that the sanctuary, the actual place that takes care of these animals, has the grounds to take care of them forever, and however long that may be for them. And you know, with a lot of animals, you can't really always tell when they're up there. So there's absolutely no discrimination. They love taking care of them. They want to have, you know, the finances to provide them with any medication if they need any. It's all complete love for all the animals. Doesn't matter what age or anything.
Nice. Now, these sanctuaries have come into kind of a prominence recently because of the whole movie and series Tiger King, right? But they've also kind of gotten a bad rep, would you say, because of Tiger King, right? You had any thoughts on that?
Yeah, so there was a lot of attention and a lot of questions that were raised, which in a way I kind of actually see as a good thing. We want people to ask questions. We want them to know that we don't breed. This guy was breeding. He was probably forcing them to do a lot of things. So that Netflix series, by the way, I could not even get past like episode 2, I think.
Right.
I was so disgusted. I was just like, this guy's not, his heart was not in it. It was more out of greed, in my opinion. And I personally know the director of Animal Tracks. Her name is Stacey Gunderson. She's a beautiful soul. She has a personal mission. They don't breed. So we don't force any of the animals to procreate. That's not the case here. If anything, we want to avoid that because we don't, you know, if they belong in the forest, why would we want to breed them to stay in the sanctuary? It's not a good life for them compared to the natural, you know, way of things.
And so so where are these animals coming from originally? Like where are you finding the animals for the sanctuary?
So
it's not just out there, you know what I mean? Like you don't just run into wild animals everywhere you go.
Yeah. There's an underground market that pretty much illegally, it's the illegal pet trade. Unfortunately, it's pretty abundant everywhere, especially in the United States. And a lot of people end up with, you know, a monkey or a hybrid wolf or, you know, something they shouldn't have.
Well,
and
you mean to tell me there's an underground, like a black market animal sales trade?
Yes. Yes.
So people are like, seriously, like where are they finding this? Is it on the dark web? Is it in alleys? Like, yo man, I got some crack. Yo man, I got a monkey. You know what I mean? Like what? How is this happening?
It's a huge business. It's huge. I mean, those are the people that will purposely breed certain animals, you know, to look a certain way so that they're extra attractive as far as their version of the species.
So we're talking about more hardcore than like the guy who sells the snakes at the swap meet. We're talking, there's a whole group of people orchestrating this. They know it's illegal. What kind of jail time would you get if you get caught doing this? What are they looking at?
The fines are huge. The jail time's huge. It just depends on which state and what kind of animal. I don't know the specifics on all of that, but know that, yeah, for example, California is really strict, and reason being is to protect our wildlife environment. But for example, I don't know if you've ever heard of marmosets.
I have not.
They're these itty bitty primates, and they're just these cute little monkeys that are from Brazil, and they're super, super important. For example, for Brazil, they help basically procreate the forest, and that's through their feces. It's a really interesting life cycle, right? So in Vegas, in Nevada, they're completely legal. You can own them, but in California, you can't. And there's a ton of people that end up, you know, maybe moving from Vegas to Cali, and they have one and they can't, you know, keep one. But For the most part, I think a lot of people just have a fantasy where like it sounds awesome to have a monkey of some sort, and then they realize that it's really, really tough to look after them. Um,
The saddest thing that I see, Jess, is like you see these vendors, if you will, like on places like Fremont Street and the Strip. I remember there was a guy that was going around with some kind of animal. I don't know if it was a ferret that he had or something, you know, and he was making money, and he'd have this ferret like scare people and then jump on their shoulder. Hey, take a picture with my ferret, you know, and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, you know, the ferret doesn't want to be part of anything like that. Like, come on, dude, really? Like, that is such, so exploitive, you know? It's just absolutely exploitive to take an animal to Las Vegas where there's no hotel for the animal, you know what I'm saying? And they gotta wait for their chips and everything. Like there's no kind of accommodations for the animal, you know what I'm saying? No VIP, no player's card. Hello?
Yeah. Right?
No pool party. What the F, man? Anyway.
Why is it in there? You can't party like us? Yeah.
No, exactly.
Yeah, I agree. It's very exploiting.
So how do we reach you on social media? We want to stay in touch with you. We want to stalk you pleasantly. You're a pretty girl. We want to sleep in your bushes in front of your house. What do we do next?
So you can go, you can actually go on Instagram and just look for, my handle is at JESS RO, but it's all kind of coded. So it's JE55 instead of S's, underscore R0.
That's some straight up astronomy stuff right there. You done took it to a whole nother level. Wow, you need your own independent film.
To be fair, I tried just regular JESS RO and it was like taken. So I had to, you know, get creative.
Hey man, Ace Michael show, we're out here saving animals, G. That's what we're doing today. We saving animals, okay? So if you're about that, you want to follow Jess, and anytime you see somebody doing a good thing, you know, get behind that, because there's only so many good things that get to happen in our lives. And you know what I say at the end of the show? I still mean it to this day, man. Live the life you love the life you live. Thank you.